again, my chickadees. GameNChick is back once again with another review. Before we get started, I'd like to give a big thank you to the kind folks over at PlayStation for providing me with a review copy to make this review possible. Thank you so much. So now with that having been said, let's go! The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake of the often claimed masterpiece from the PlayStation 3 era that is developed by Naughty Dog and published by SIE. After being remastered previously on PlayStation 4, Naughty Dog now aims to rework the game for the modern generation in hopes to provide an even grander experience. But did they succeed in their attempt, or was this remake just not needed at all? Only one way to find out, so pew pew! Story. In a ravaged civilization where infected and hardened survivals run rampant, Joel, a weary protagonist, is hired to smuggle 14-year-old Ellie out of the military quarantine zone. However, what starts as a small job soon transforms into a brutal cross-country journey. Hunted not only by infected mutations, but other humans as well, Joel and Ellie must find strength in each other in order to survive their ordeal. Gameplay. So, far from the get-go, The Last of Us Remake has been a somewhat polarizing title. Not in the same way The Last of Us 2 was, of course, but mainly over two topics. The price point of $70, and does it even need to exist at this point in time? Honestly, I have my opinions on both of these, but that will be answered the further we get into this review. For a quick disclaimer, this review will not be like my normal reviews where we go down story beat after story beat until we reach the conclusion, because, let me be honest, most everybody knows the full story already. But that's not saying I'll skimp out on things either. I'll still give some story details, as well as my opinions on specific scenes, gameplay, thoughts of character arcs, and everything and anything in between. And even talk about Ellie being my spirit human with how much of a cuss bucket she is with her sassy attitude. I could totally relate to her attitude. So let's dive into this condensed review and see if the upgrade is actually worth it.
Why are these all stuck together? I'm just fucking with you.
At its core, The Last of Us is your very basic third-person shooter, with L2 being your aiming button, R2 to shoot, D-pad to switch between usable health items or throwables, cover system, etc. If you've ever played a third-person shooter ever in your entire life, then there's nothing new on that front. However, where this title truly stands out against the rest of the pack is in its storytelling, narrative, and character arcs as you play through the entirety of its story. The game starts you off at the height of the outbreak, in which Joel loses his daughter in a downright tragic event due to the military taking the kill dozens to save the many approach, which is entirely screwed up. Witnessing the scene of Joel's loss of his daughter in 2022 is just as sad and depressing as it was in 2013.
Don't do this to me, babe. Don't do this to me, babe. Come on.
Then we flash forward to 20 years in the future, where Joel is an older man, bitter, angry, and just existing for the sake of existing. He has a cold demeanor to nearly everyone. But as the story progresses through events like Roger's hiring people to beat up his friend Tessa, meeting back up with your brother and a semi-reconciliation from years of not talking, coming to terms with the loss of his daughter, being around Ellie and realizing there is something to live for after all, and shooting someone in the face while they beg for their life and just telling them, "Bro, chill, I'm not gonna kill you, just shut up already." But then I do it anyways just to be an ass. All of those are just some of the events that transpired that helped Joel continue to grow and open up as a character. Well, minus my antics, that is. We can't count that. As you wade your way through eerie boatyards, swampy-looking cities, beautiful woods, the cold, icy snow, and many other underground subway areas, you will have a chance to become accustomed to how this game actually plays. I mean, I said it was a third-person shooter, but there's a lot more to it than just standard pointing and shooting everything that moves. This isn't Duck Hunt. Although I wish it was, because then I'd be able to throw a brick in that dang dog's face, just like I did to hunters in this game. Full Home Alone 2 treatment all the way. That's how it's done, Kevin. Even though shooting is the focal point of how this game plays, I mean, again, it's a shooter. It's strongly encouraged that you conserve any ammo you collect to use in emergency-only situations due to mutated threats like bloaters, runners, and clickers taking a bit more force to take down than the usual human enemies that hunt you down. Crouching down and doing the duck walk, you can sneak up behind enemies and press triangle to give everyone a big, nice Care Bear hug of death.
Move the controller down, and I crouch. When I'm crouching, you can make me do the duck walk. Cool, huh?
Hide behind cover of a wall or barricade, and either use crafted items like knives, Molotovs, or landmines to strategically use to your advantage. For example, you can use bottles to cause a distraction to lure an enemy away from you so that you can make a sneaky getaway, or be a super jerk like me and toss a landmine down on the ground. Then throw a bottle to lure them out to my location, and then boom! Watch them as they explode into tiny bitty pieces. Simply amazing stuff. That's part of the beauty of this title. You can truly play how you wish to play. You can run around and gun your way through enemy fire and stabbing people in the neck with a knife, throw bottles in people's faces like you're the bottle kids for the Trailer Park Boys, and go into a Rocky-like fighting frenzy, or pull out Molotovs to really heat things up. I know, that was a bad pun, but come on, nothing beats crafting Molotovs and then being like, you're fired! While I still have plenty more time to talk about the gameplay, trust me, I want to dive into some of the story that caught my eye in 2013 and now in 2022 touched a nerve with me, or some of the highlights of why this game stands out more above a typical run-of-the-mill shooter game. When you progress through the game, after you get orders to take Ellie to the Firefly headquarters, which is across the United States, since Ellie may hold the key to finding a cure potentially by using her blood, Joel is a bit of a sourpuss. He doesn't want to babysit anyone and is only doing this because Tessa wants to do it herself. But after she sadly dies from the world's biggest hickey, Joel decides, fine, I'll take her just because you asked me to, while secretly wishing that this punk kid doesn't end up in a Yoshi's Island scenario. Their first interactions are those of angst. He doesn't want to be a babysitter, and she doesn't want an adult telling her what to do. Complete polar opposites of each other. But as they spend more time together, as they journey together, that begins to change, and that hate starts to become a father and daughter dynamic. You start seeing signs of this when Joel is fending off a bunch of enemies by himself, only for Ellie to come to the rescue and save him. He doesn't say thank you or acknowledge it and is very cold to her, mean even. He's such a freaking jerk. You know what, Joel? I'm not inviting you to go out golfing with me next time with that attitude. Oh, wait. Never mind. Even though the start of the relationship goes a lot like this for a long time, he does start caring for Ellie and thinking of her as his own kid, becoming more protective and worrying of her and doing whatever he can to keep her safe. Whether it's him wanting her to stay back no matter what from gunfire, helping her cross water in a pallet because she can't swim, risking his life to find her after she was kidnapped by a group of cannibals, and stopping at nothing to find her, in which he finds her absolutely obliterating someone's face with a machete, Friday the 13th style. Girl goes nuts. But those aren't the only key moments that I personally felt their relationship change, even though there's still smaller pivotal ones. It goes well beyond this. When traveling with Ellie, you meet an older brother and his younger brother, who is the same age as Ellie. After teaming up for a while with a ton of close calls, Joel and Ellie get separated from each other, with Ellie being placed with the older brother Henry, and you as Joel with the younger brother Sam. This is when you notice some key differences in Joel's behavior and begin seeing signs that the good part of him and caring side of him is still in there somewhere. Joel with Sam is more reassuring when he completes a task or does something right. This in contrast to his behavior towards Ellie by being a jerk and never complimenting her for a good job. Why is this? Well, to me, it's because Sam is a pretty timid kid, weaker and not mentally strong. Being rude or showing him tough love would emotionally break him, and Joel knows this and takes a kinder approach to him. He doesn't have to do this with Ellie because she's strong-willed and minded and self-dependent. The writing here can be seen as very subtle, but I saw it as a key moment where Joel opens up his kinder side, while also showing how much he respects and trusts Ellie as a person, and as a daughter by the way he treats her in comparison. Keeping her hardened and focused in this cruel and screwed-up world, it best suits her strengths. On the flip side, it's also Ellie who becomes more of who she truly is as well. Sure, she's foul-mouthed and blunt, but she's also just a kid. During their hardest of times, she tries to brighten the mood by cracking a joke, trash-talking Joel for fun with quips or reading a pun book to him to try to get him to laugh and lighten the mood. Honestly, this is probably the most relatable scene in the game for me, mostly because I love really, really bad puns. The these are only just a few of the great moments between these two characters in your 16 to 20 hour playthrough that makes you understand why so many people fell in love with these characters to begin with. There's just so many great interactions between Joel and Ellie that it's impossible to list them all and do them justice.
I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now.
Alright, I've actually never heard that.
But getting to these moments isn't just a walk in the park either, because you're going to need to keep upgrading your arsenal in order to survive the treacherous times that await you. You can do this by crafting new throwables, health kits, collecting items known as supplement pills in order to upgrade your maximum health, upgrade your listen mode distance to see enemies behind walls, crafting speed, healing speed, etc. These will be extremely crucial to survival. But what about the guns, you say? I talked briefly on about the melee combat with the different ways you can be a jerk, but I haven't talked about the gunplay. As you plow through all these stupid hunters or mutations, you can pick up weapons like pistols, shotguns, rifles, bows and arrows, etc. And each weapon in the game are able to be upgraded in regards to their reload speed, holding capacity, firing rate, and so forth. To be fair, you do not need to do this in order to beat the game, but I encourage it because it helps boost your playstyle immensely. Like myself using the bow and arrow through most of the latter half of my playthrough and utilizing smoke bombs to hide via smokescreen cover, then proceeding to shoot someone in the neck or chest with a bow and watching them fall down on their dead partner and being like, "Aw, little baby go sleepy with his friend," to taunt them. And man, it just feels so dang awesome. Collectibles are also a big part of your time in this game. No, not like the traditional collectibles you get in a platforming game, no. Moreover, these are in relation to manuals. Manuals here act as a sort of guidance and upgrade system for your weapons and survival skills, with additional upgrades like adding sharp edges to your melee weapons, knots, etc. It costs a lot of your materials to use just one at a time, but putting spikes on a lead pipe or 2x4 and sticking in someone's skull is just bliss. You can stab someone viciously and be like, "Oh yeah, baby. I guess he was a little too headstrong." Am I right? No? Alright then. On top of the upgradable weapons, skills, crafting, stealth gameplay, and cool kills, you see a great improvement in each of the game designs for characters and their environment. Is it a super major overhaul? Yes and no, but it is still pretty significant and gorgeous looking either way. Everything looks way more crisp, clean, and smoother. From the green forests and plant life growing within the time-forgotten cities, the desolate abandoned underways, the amazing-looking rain effects and ice-cold rivers during the winter with their realistic movements and lighting that really make the cold effect hit home, and also something that makes me think to myself that I better not fall in this dang river like Sassy did in Homeward Bound, because I don't think an old man will be saving me like he did for her at the end of this scenario.
I just had this coat cleaned!
Sassy?
By far though, my favorite revamp scene in the game is after Ellie's kidnapping incident. She's completely dead inside, depressed, and in a funk due to mental traumatization. She doesn't talk anymore, and it's awkward as heck. But this all changes when Toys R Us reopens and Jeffrey the giraffe makes his presence known, and she rushes you to the roof where you see a family of giraffes walking around in the abandoned city. The design, graphics, the lighting, it's all phenomenal. In an already gorgeous scene, it just got even more gorgeous. It makes this heartwarming scene between Joel and Ellie that much more touching than it originally was, and I absolutely love it. Extra stuff. Besides the main game story, you also have the expansion DLC Left Behind included in this package as well. It's a short and sweet endeavor to take on, clocking in at roughly 2 hours. You will join Ellie alongside her friend Riley as you witness the pre-events of the main game and see Ellie go from a novice to the honed and fearless survival she becomes in The Last of Us. It's a vastly different experience from the horrors Ellie goes through with Joel, but definitely worth a playthrough at least once. Dislikes. Uh-oh, I'm in for it now. Contrary to everything I've said so far boasting about the game's stealth, gunplay, story, characters, crafting, there are several issues I have with the game, some very minor and a few medium-ranked ones. Nothing completely damning if I'm going to be honest. On a few occasions, I ran into glitches that impeded my progression through the game, with the raft or rather pallet getting stuck and freezing my character completely when trying to help Ellie across a plane of water. This was annoying and caused me to have to restart from a previous save just to fix it. Not something that happened a lot, but it exists either way. My second gripe has to do with the lack of multiplayer in this version of the game. I realize it's being created as a standalone at this time, but I feel like it's a big detriment to the game and its pricing point of $70. Offering a game that has been released multiple times before, a la Grand Theft Auto 5 and Skyrim, then going and charging more for it with cut features, it's just a really big no-no in my opinion. I'm not a fan of that business model personally, but that's a rant for another day. Devil's advocate on that flip side, I realize the amount of money put into reworking the game, but I still can't get over my opinion on it, even with understanding that. I'm sorry. Overall, at the end of the day, even with its issues like glitches and cut multiplayer, there's still an amazing amount of greatness to be seen and played in this remake. From watching Bill and Ellie trash talk each other, and her beating him with a pipe in a funny moment, appreciating the AI helping you out by letting you know which way enemies are coming from, intense moment like being chased by a bloater while trying to use a keycard to get through a door, and hearing him get closer as I whine, "Oh my god, no, 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 go, go, go!" Blowing up 3 people at once with a landmine and painting the ground red, laughing as Ellie attempts to whistle and fail, and me laughing at her for not being as good as Quail Man. Emotional moments like when Joel can't bring himself to abandon Ellie in the Fireflies because he loves her like a daughter after their long journey of bonding, discovering cool Naughty Dog Easter eggs with figures of Nathan Drake and Jack and Daxter, intense moments with Ellie drowning in a water-filled subway and Joel desperately trying to bring her back to life, etc. There's just so much to love here in this remake, and even in the original 2013 version too, that I can easily tell you to buy this right now. But am I going to? Not really. For me, the hang-up is a few things. For one, the $70 price tag, along with cut content, I think is a major factor here. You're paying more for less when you can play the same game, minus the graphical upgrades, on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. It's a remake that, for people who have already played this game before, might see as not having a reason to exist, if I'm going to be blunt. Sure, it has some of the best accessibility features that I can think of for a game in recent memory, allowing people with blindness and other disabilities to experience this great story for the first time, which is not only amazing but inspiring. But at the same time, as an overall consumer, $70 is still a really steep price for what they're offering you. If you've played this game before, do you need it again? Not really, but for people who have never played it, is it something that you should play? 100%, absolutely. But more so at the $40 price range than a $70 tag. I know I'm going to get cooked more than Gordon Ramsay does to people, but I gotta stay honest. So with all this having been said, my verdict is clear. GameNChick says wait for at least the $40 price tag point, then pick this bad boy up. Hey everyone, thanks for watching! I really hope you enjoyed that review, and I look forward to bringing more to you in the coming future. For new people, feel free to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like or share, and for people already subscribed, make sure to hit that notification bell so that you do not miss out on any future content uploaded. Also, feel free to click on my other reviews linked above because they're kinda cool too, so give them a look. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch all you chickadees on the next one. Quack!